Welcome everybody to this live webinar, How to Get Your Next Job in Islamic Finance. Our host for this evening, our expert is Shane Phillips from Stanton Chase International. We're here in Dubai on a bright Saturday afternoon doing this webinar from Knowledge Village, where Stanton Chase has its Dubai office. And Shane generously agreed to giving up his otherwise happening weekend for this webinar. So we're really appreciative of the fact that everybody could take out time from their busy schedules, including Shane. And without much ado, we'll give it off to Shane.
Hi everyone, I'm Shane Phillips, MENA Regional Practice Leader for Stanton Chase, an executive search firm. I work with executives for the last decade or so with their career management strategies. And I myself, in fact, have also used the job search system that never fails myself. And it's pretty much guaranteed to get you a job within 90 days. But I've never seen anyone fail who's actually followed this system. So when I'll walk you through basically kind of the key parts of your job search, which starts on your resume. When I walk through the resume, I'll tell you everything you need to know within 2 minutes. 2 minutes, and you will have all the information you need to know about a resume. Then we will walk through how to get your interview, how to get into a target company that you're actually looking to get into, how to actually interview once you get that first meeting, how to prepare for the interview, and then actually how to follow up after the interview. And then once you get an offer, how to negotiate your salary. And those are kind of the key areas which I'll cover today. So when we look at the resume basics, so right now the time is 4 o'clock, and everything you need to know in less than 2 minutes about your resume starting right now. So number one, right at the top of the page, I look at thousands of CVs a month. I just want your name and I want your mobile number and your email address. It's very frustrating when the contact information is not on the CV. So that's the first thing. And then the two most important things on your resume, which people have kind of mixed reviews about, but I clearly believe that it's simply two things, which are brands and results. So we live in a branded world. If someone's driving a Ferrari versus someone's driving a Hyundai, we're going to view them slightly differently. Just if someone's working in Goldman Sachs and someone else is working in Shane Phillips Inc., you're going to look at them differently. So the quick test for your resume is if you hold it up at an arm's length, you want to be able to see the brands the individual works for and the results that they deliver. So that's a very quick test. A lot of CVs, and that's pretty much everything you need to know right there. So it's your contact information, your brands, and your results. If those three things aren't on the CV, then the CV should be reworked. A lot of people start their CV off with a big objective statement and then a delivery about various competencies, a leadership competency, I have a strategy competency, I have project management skill set. This really anybody can write. Someone fresh out of high school, someone who's been working for 5 years, someone who's been working for 30 years can write on their CV that they have a leadership competency. That's kind of light, and what we really look for is, if you're leading a team at Al Raji, for example, if you're leading a team at Dubai Islamic Bank, if you're leading a team of 50 people, I can then deduce that you have a leadership competency from the brand that you're working for, the strength of that brand, the size of that team, and the results that you're actually delivering within that team. So don't be a no-name brand. If you are working with a smaller company, which may not be a recognized brand, but perhaps you're servicing some fairly big clients. So some of a lot of the boutiques that I work with, for example, will have a page on their website with their tombstone deals. A lot of these deals are public information, and you're not sacrificing any integrity by putting something that's public information on your CV. So here's an example of a typical resume. This individual has got the first part correct. He put his contact information at the top of the page. and then we have an objective statement. Seeking a challenging career, that's a typo there, should be career. With a progressive financial institution to utilize knowledge and skill professionally and to provide opportunities for career advancement. So many CVs come across with these blasé statements. They're actually saying absolutely nothing at all. I would hope that you want to have a challenging career. I would hope that you're looking for opportunities for career advancement. This is really telling us absolutely nothing at all, and it's just basically taking up space. Secondly, it can actually knock you out of an opportunity. What if you're applying to a group that doesn't view themselves as a financial institution? What if the entrepreneur who started the company you're applying for actually started it because of his disdain for financial institutions? You may disqualify yourself right out of the gates by putting an objective statement, and at the end of the day, it's not really adding value. The other concept that I'm going to use throughout this presentation, which is simply make a deposit before you can make a withdrawal. So telling someone what you want right out of the gates is really you're trying to make a withdrawal from an account you haven't made a deposit in yet. So I think what makes more sense would be a profile statement if you're going to make any statement at all, clearly articulating what your value is to the employer. So, 15-year Islamic finance professional with a sweet spot in sukuk offerings. That would be fairly significant. I can know pretty much exactly what that individual is all about in one line, a capsule line. Then that makes sense. So here's another individual who tried to put pretty much everything on the CV. And this is kind of two problems here. One, you can't really get the information you want out. You don't know who he's working for, where he's going with everything. But it also creates an expression about the candidate themselves that he's not really sure what his value is in the market. He's not really sure what his direction is, and because he's basically has a spaghetti offense. He's kind of listing everything he can in the piece. So here's an example of something I think is a bit more clear. Right at the top, we can kind of see the brands the individual is working for, the title, and the time period. If you worked for 3 months or you've been working for 30 years, it really makes a difference at that particular brand. A good run with the company is 4 years, 4 or 5 years. So I want to know exactly which brand you're working for. I want to know how long you've worked there for, and then I want to know what are your results. So when we look at results, a lot of people say to me, I've been working there a year, I haven't really had a chance to make any big hits in my results. Different examples of results. It doesn't necessarily need to be a revenue. It doesn't necessarily need to be in terms of bringing in new business. Results can be reducing a cost, can be streamlining a process, can be streamlining a business unit. When you actually create a process which reduces the amount of time it takes to perform a task, then, for example, when you're looking at issuing a personal loan, if you can reduce that from 10 steps down to 3 steps, the time from 1 week down to 2 days, what's the opportunity cost of that time savings? That's the net savings to the organization. So then you can then put a bottom line number looking at the opportunity cost that you've saved the group, and you put that in your accomplishment. 2 or 3 of your biggest accomplishments should be listed. And then responsibilities. There's really all we want to know is if you're managing a team, what's the size of the team? What's the size of your profit and loss if you're managing a P&L? How many departments are you looking after? What's the number of business units you're looking after? What are the number of geographies? Are you looking after 2 geographies, 5 geographies? And what's the size of the revenue you're managing? So these are kind of examples of relevant responsibilities. If you start to get into kind of the minutia, then it's not necessarily really relevant. I heard someone once say that a CV should be like a skirt, short enough to cover all the, long enough to cover all the important bits, but short enough to keep people interested. So keep it short and succinct, and those are the clear takeaways. So what you really want is brands. You want your results, profile statement over objective statement. Make sure your date's there. And when you actually think about how you're creating your CV, you're sending. There's a statement that says the medium is the message. So If you have a long CV that's all over the place, then we will probably assume that that candidate isn't really sure where they're going with their career. They don't really have direction. And if you're applying for a leadership position, you can't give something you don't have. So if you don't have direction in your own career, how are you actually going to transfer that into a team? So you want to make sure that your CV is focused, that you're demonstrating